Hi everyone, my name is Caris and welcome back to my little corner of the internet where I talk about books and other things that I enjoy. So I think it's pretty clear from the fact that this channel exists that I enjoy talking about books, but this is something that I've always enjoyed doing, and today I thought I would share with you some book reviews that I wrote when I was 10 years old. So throughout primary school, especially from what I can remember in year 6, which is when you're between the ages of 10 and 11 here in the UK, we were encouraged to keep a reading journal where we basically had to document every single time we picked up a book and how much we'd read and what our thoughts were, and then at the end we had to write a book review. And I thought it would be really interesting to see what my reviews were like. Now I can't find out this particular journal, I'm going to carry on searching for it, but I have managed to find out my literacy homework book, and there are some reviews that I've stuck into here that my teacher marked, so they must have been like particular homework tasks that we've been given that week, and I thought I would read out these ones and share them with you. I've seen what books I've written about, but I haven't read the reviews yet, so I'm just gonna delve into them now. I have no idea what they're going to be like. I feel like it's going to be a really big summary of the plot instead of an actual review, but we'll just see, we'll just get into it. And I'm interested to see what my writing was like when I was 10, because I always got really good comments from my teachers about my creative writing and the way that I wrote in general, but I have read a few things back recently and I'm just like, it's so cringe. So yeah, we'll see. Feel free to mock me in the comments though. So the first book review that I can find in my homework book I wrote on Thursday the 21st of September 2006, and that was about the book Soul Surfer by Bethany Hamilton, which was my absolute favourite book when I was in year 6. I just was so obsessed with this story. I talked about it in my Time and Place book tag, which is already on my channel. So yeah, if you want to hear more about it and my memories associated with this, then you can go over and watch that. But yeah, I clearly loved it enough to write a review about it. So yeah, let's see. So it says, the book I have chosen to write about is called Soul Surfer. It is written by a teenage girl whose name is Bethany Hamilton. This book is published by Pocket Books and the date of copyright is C 2004. What an engaging start. Imagine if we all started our book reviews in such a way. I mean, I guess you do, because you say the name and the author, and then you, like, if the publisher sent you the book, then you would say who it's published by, but yeah. Okay. This is an autobiography of how Bethany learnt to surf, so all of it is true. That is the definition of an autobiography. The book describes how one Halloween morning Bethany is out surfing like she always is on a beach near her house. Suddenly, a huge tiger shark bit a chunk out of her surfboard and took Bethany's left arm, almost up to her shoulder, with it. Bethany responded to the shark's attack calmly. She said in her book she didn't even scream. She was just out at sea and then she saw a fast grey blur and felt a few sharp tugs. She didn't feel any pain at the time until she looked up and saw the water around her was bright red with blood. Then she looked at her arm and saw that only a short stump was remaining. But she was brave. Pushing all her panic and pain aside, she started to paddle with her one arm, with the thought, get to the beach, in her head. By the time she got to hospital, her father was about to undergo knee surgery and Bethany found herself taking his place so doctors could deal with her arm. This story is mainly about the attack and Bethany's determination to get back on the board. Okay, so we've got the plot summary there. That does take up a big portion of the review, I have to say, but I think I actually was better at summarising plots then than I was now, judging by this, because I am terrible at summarising plots. So maybe I just need to start writing it down in a review like this. All of the events in this book take place in Hawaii, which is where Bethany lives and where she learnt to surf. I liked this entire book. I particularly liked it when Bethany was recovering after the attack and how she overcame her disability because of her determination to surf again, and how she entered many competitions after the attack. I also liked how Bethany described the attack, as this grips the reader to the book and makes me want to keep on reading to see what happens next. So that's basically the review segment. I think I would stand by what I said there. I mean, I haven't read this book since I was 11 years old, but yeah, I mean, could have gone into a bit more detail, but I guess I was only 10, so we'll be lenient on myself. And then I say, I think ages 10 plus would enjoy reading this book. I think adults would enjoy this as well, as it is not based on any age group. I thoroughly enjoyed reading this autobiography. This is my mark for it. And then I've drawn 4 stars. and then I've put equals a great read. And honestly, I'm surprised I didn't rate it 5 stars, because I really have such vivid memories of loving this book so much and really being obsessed with Bethany Hamilton's story. So I was clearly a much harsher reviewer then as I am now, because I feel like I give 5 stars out way too easily. I would recommend this book as it is so moving and gripping and enjoyable. I am definitely reading it again, and I definitely did read it again. I'm pretty sure I went through a phase of like reading it over and over again in that year of my life, and then I haven't read it again since then, so it's definitely been over 10 years, so maybe it is due a reread, and then I can do like an updated review. So that was the end of that review. My teacher marked it and said, "It sounds a wonderful real story book. Please use shorter paragraphs and link them. I need to see a variety of punctuation too." I mean, okay. A lot of my comments in my normal literacy book, because I was looking through that as well, were about my bad handwriting, and my handwriting in this homework book is so neat, because I remember I used to sit there and write it out on scrap first and then copy it up neatly into the homework book. And I look back and my handwriting wasn't even that bad. I just think they were being painstaking. I just feel like I wasted so much of my life copying things out again and again and again. And how often nowadays do I actually handwrite things? Hardly ever. So the second book review that I found in this book is for The Carnivorous Carnival, book 9 in a series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. I loved this series. It was one of my absolute favourite series when I was a kid. Unfortunately, I can't really remember much about the later books, but I do have them all, so maybe a reread at some point is in order. But let's just see what I said about it when I was 10. When did I write this one? Some point in October, the 19th of October, 2006. And I actually typed this one up and printed it out. So it says, the book I am reviewing is called The Carnivorous Carnival. It is the 9th book in a series of unfortunate events. My book is written by Lemony Snicket and published by Edgemont. The date of copyright is C 2002. So maybe I had to write that for all of my book reviews, because it seems like a really weird thing for me to just put in. The book is about 3 orphans named Violet Klaus and Sonny Baudelaire. Their parents were killed in a fire in one of the previous books. They are always having to escape from Count Olaf, a former guardian who wants to kill the children and get his hands on the huge fortune the children's parents left for them. In this book, the children arrive at a carnival hidden in Count Olaf's car, where they had jumped in for shelter in the previous book. They don't want to be discovered by anyone, so they disguise and go to the carnival to look for a job. They get into the freak show because Violet and Klaus had disguised as a person with 2 heads and Sonny disguised as a baby wolf. Okay, I'm sure the book probably used the words freak show, but quite problematic content by the sounds of it. They hate the carnival, but it is the only way to stay out of the clutches of Count Olaf and his evil crew. They realise they are always being found by a fortune teller named Madame Lulu, who tells the Count where the children are. They also find out Madame Lulu is a fake. Oh my gosh. She has documents in a drawer and gets people to close their eyes and concentrate whilst listening to calming music while she finds the right document. The children tell Madame Lulu they know this and make a promise to take her to the mountains if she doesn't tell Olaf where they are. Lulu doesn't keep her promise and tells Count Olaf where they are. I mean, I'm quite confused by the plot of this. What documents and what are the mountains got to do with it? I don't feel like this summary is as good as the last one. They're going to get thrown to a pit of lions by Olaf as part of the carnival entertainment, but Madame Lulu ends up going in instead. Count Olaf captures them. He takes Sonny in the car and attaches a caravan with the other orphans to the back of it. Then, as part of a plan, one of his crew breaks the knot and he gets away with Sonny. The next book in the series is called The Slippery Slope. This continues the adventure and I can't wait to read it. Count Olaf is an evil man. Understatement. He is always wearing disguises to try and trick the orphans. Usually he is tall and thin with only 1 long eyebrow instead of 2 and a tattoo of an eye on his left ankle. Some of his disguises include a snake expert, a sailor, an optician, a sports coach and many more. He has never tricked the Baudelaires, although he has always managed to trick everyone else into thinking he is a kind man in each disguise. Violet Baudelaire is totally the opposite of Count Olaf. She is not evil, she is a great inventor and always invents something to help her and her siblings out of trouble. Lots of people think, I've put think, but it's meant to say lots of people think she is a murderer and a criminal because of Count Olaf's tricks. She is 14, the oldest Baudelaire, and is entitled to her parents' fortune when she becomes 18. I enjoyed this book all the way through. I love that. In the last one as well, I was like, I enjoyed the entirety of this book. It's not like I would be like, I enjoyed 75% of this book and I didn't like 25% of this book. But I love that we're now getting on to the review after I've basically talked about the characters and the plot for literally 3/4. But we're finally getting on to the review, and I will show you the piece of paper. This bit from here down is my thoughts, and the rest of it is just me going on about the plot. A part I particularly enjoyed was when Count Olaf was unfolding the paper with the name of who was going to be thrown to the lions on it. I liked this because it makes me want to read on and find out who is chosen and what happens to them. What a really out of the box reason for why I liked that. This book is a children's book. Linking with my opinion, I believe that ages 8 to 13 years old would get into this book and really enjoy it. I love how I was like, yeah, you'll like this at 13, as if I knew what people would like when they're 13 when I was 10. But also, that's so untrue. Anyone can like this book. It's not just for children. I feel like I would happily reread it now at 24, 11 years older than my highest recommended age. So yes. And then I've put, this is one of my favourite books, so my rating is, and then I've put 5 smiley faces. So I actually rated that one higher than the Bethany Hamilton one, which I'm very surprised by. My teacher has written an excellent review, Caris. It obviously sounds a complicated and challenging story, by which she clearly means I do not have a clue from your description what the hell this book is about. And the third and final book review that I've got to share with you today, that I wrote when I was 10, I wrote on the 11th of May 2007. So actually I was 11 when I wrote this one. So let's see if my book reviewing skills had improved over the course of the year. This book review was about Daydream by Jacqueline Wilson. I'm sure I'm going to rave about it because Jacqueline Wilson, as I feel like I say all the time now, was my absolute childhood idol, and I actually met her to get this book signed. There we go, there it is. I remember printing this out and it all being blue because my printer was out of ink, and the title with that 2007 word art. My favourite author, Jacqueline Wilson, wrote Jackie Daydream. This book is published by Doubleday and the date of copyright is 2007. Jackie Daydream is Jacqueline Wilson's autobiography, the story of her childhood. Wow, I was really good at using its semicolons when I was 11. I feel like I had a better understanding of them than I did for most of my life after that. I feel like now I know how to use a semicolon because obviously I'm an editor, but I swear between the ages of, well, 12 and 21, not a clue. So 11-year-old me was clearly ahead of the game. Jacqueline Wilson starts by telling you a bit about when she was born and what she was like as a baby. Here are some facts. Jacqueline Wilson was more than a fortnight late for her own birth. She was born on December the 17th, 1945. After the birth, she wasn't allowed to see her mother for 4 days. I'm sure she didn't really care. Like, it was probably her mother was more bothered about not having to see her for 4 days. Jacqueline later goes on to explain about her school life. Once, young Jacqueline was made Christmas card monitor and discovered a box with something very special inside. I wish I could make a discovery at school. Did anyone else in school have Christmas card monitors? I remember at primary school we had like a big letterbox that we would go and post our Christmas cards in, and you would write like the person's name and their class. And because I was a playground leader, which meant that you basically like supervised the lower school at lunchtime, I had like loads of friends who were from the lower school when I was in the upper school, and I used to like send cards to all of them, and then someone would be assigned like card monitor for each class to go and deliver them each day. Honestly, iconic. I wish that I could go back to that simple way of life. Everything inside this book was fascinating, especially the way she compares herself to her characters. When you read it, certain sections make you think, oh, there was an event like that in Tracy Beaker, or that happened in Bad Girls too. I think Jacqueline Wilson gets ideas for her stories from real life situations. I actually think that was quite an intellectual thought I had there. Well done me. In the story, Jacqueline Wilson, then known as Jacqueline Aitken, is a clever, friendly girl. Although she failed the 11+ examinations, she came top of the class in lots of subjects and simply had a terrible stuffy cold that would not allow her to think on the examination day. Fun fact, 11+ is like this exam that some people have in the UK that basically, if you pass it, I think you can go to like certain schools, like grammar schools, but in the area I grew up in, it's not a thing anymore, and I only knew it from my mum taking it when she was a child, and then from things like this and other older children's books, like children's books that were written in the past. And I genuinely, until I was 21 years old, thought that the 11 plus was like a thing from the 50s through to the 70s. And then I had my internship in the county I live now, Buckinghamshire, and the 11 plus is like a massive thing there, and I don't really understand it at all, to be honest. But all the parents from my company, like some of their kids were doing it, some of them had been through it, some of the people had done it themselves, and I was like, oh my god, the 11 plus is a thing that still happens. Like, it's not just like a Mallory Towers style thing. So yeah, that's a fun fact for you. I'm exposing myself for being really thick and just having no knowledge of the world. She was quite a shy girl whose hero was a child actress called Mandy Miller. Jacqueline Aitken was a very helpful girl, and if I were at school with her, I'd want to be her friend, because in this book there are many examples of her kindness and generosity. In Jackie Daydream, Jacqueline's mom, Biddy, I wrote Jacqueline Wilson before in all caps as well, and I've wrote Biddy in all caps, like Jacqueline's mom, Biddy. Like, calm down, Caris, we get it, she's called Biddy. Seems a bit of a peculiar character. On a family photo in Brighton, she is happy and smiley, but on another, when she is captured at the wrong moment, she looks grumpy and fed up. This suggests she is usually scowling and moody. Wow. I feel like now I need to like go over this book again and learn more about Jacqueline Wilson's mom, because God forbid one day she's happy and one day she's not, and that makes her peculiar. I would just love to go back to being 11 and having like no insight into the fact that people aren't always happy. If only I knew then the realities of adult life. Biddy had quite a few rows with Jacqueline's father, although she can be loving and caring too. Jackie Daydream is set in many different places, such as Brighton when she went on holiday. Jacqueline also moved house quite a lot, so there was often a change of setting. The setting at the beginning of Jacqueline's autobiography is Bath, where she was born. Sorry to those people who pronounce it Bath. That's probably the way I meant to say it, but the Midlands accent, I can't. Later, the book is based in many different places, like Kingston, where Jackie had to live with her parents and grandparents. The event that I enjoy most in Jackie Daydream is where Jacqueline finds the box with something special inside it. When Jackie opens the large heavy box, a mountain of dressing up clothes are there looking up at her. They're Christmas production costumes. Jackie can't resist. She spent the rest of her lunchtime wrapping herself in materials and putting on crowns and rings. After school, Jacqueline informed her friends, Christine, Alan, Robert, Eileen, David and Julian, again, immaculate level of detail from me, that she'd made a discovery. For most lunchtimes after this, Jacqueline and her gang go and dress up in various outfits, which they find great fun. I think Jackie Daydream is most suited to 10 to 13 year olds. I think the book is designed mainly for girls, as are most of her books. Okay, 11-year-old me with the gender stereotyping. Most year 5s, 6s and 7s would enjoy this book, as it is funny, interesting and a really good read. I thought this was probably one of the best Jacqueline Wilson books. That is interesting, because now, did I even put this one in my tiered ranking Jacqueline Wilson video? I can't remember, but like now I would put it in like I wouldn't say that it's one that I loved, but I feel like every new one that I read I was like, this one's my favourite, this one's my favourite. But I would always prefer to read her fiction books now over reading her life story. But I guess when I was 11 and she was my absolute idol and I wanted to be just like her, it was really interesting for me to find out how she got into being the best author ever. And then I say, and my copy is really special to me as it is signed by my favourite author, Jacqueline Wilson herself. I was going to be like, as if it was signed by my favourite author, and then put someone's name who wasn't Jacqueline Wilson. You know, Mackenzie Lee hasn't signed this one. I even met her at the special book signing. I now think that Jacqueline should write another edition about her teenage life from about age 11 to 19. Now, she did write another autobiography called My Secret Diary, and I'm not sure if I already knew this and I put this into the review just so I could be like, oh, I'm so clever, I've got such amazing foresight, or if I actually really did say that and then she brought it out later. Couldn't tell you, to be honest. This would be really fantastic and I would definitely buy it. So for these reasons and many more, my rating is, and then I've put 5 little club emojis. So that was it. My teacher has written, "This seems a popular book, Caris. Well written and detailed. Please share it." So that's what I'm doing, you know, just following the instructions. How many years later? 13 years later. This was written more than half my life ago. Oh my god, I'm gonna stop thinking about it now. So those were the 3 book reviews that I wrote when I was 10 or 11 that I wanted to share with you today. I think my reviewing has definitely got better. I feel like I was better at explaining plots back then, although I was very long-winded in doing so. The actual review where I write my thoughts and feelings in all of them seemed to be just a couple of lines long, so I feel like I do that a little bit better nowadays. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in seeing another installment of this. I'm gonna be trying to dig through my old stuff to find out my reading log, so I could definitely look through that on camera if that's something that interests you. I also have loads of little stories that I wrote in my English classes when I was 10 and probably even younger that I've managed to find out alongside this homework book, so definitely let me know if that's something you want to see. I think I might do a video on that regardless, to be honest, because I really would like to look through my old creative writing and read some things out. But yeah, other than that, that is all for today's video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well, and I will see you again soon. Bye.